Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming the 5th part of my series here on my channel where I talk about series I have finished / completed. Some of these are as always a bit, I would say, questionable just because I don't know if authors will add to the series later, but as of today, as I'm filming this, the date this video goes up, I look upon them as completed. Wait, usually like I finish 15 series and then I film a new installment here. You're basically catching up from August 2020 until April this year. But yeah, I'm trying the last 2 years or something to finish my series. I am in a billion that I have started but never finish, so I'm trying to become better at it. And finish series I'm in the middle of because there's so many. Like this doesn't even like eat in a big mountain of series I'm in the middle of. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking and let's go to the first series. So in August I actually finished an absolutely remarkable thing, duology. I think the duology itself, the name of it is like the Carls, and it is 2 books. As of now, I don't think it will be added more, but yeah, it was a duology. I actually thought it would be a trilogy, but it wasn't. So here we are. This is by Hank Green, John Green's brother, if you didn't know. The first book follows April May, who goes out at night. She sees this statue that has fallen down, and it turns out that it's not the only one. It's been like several around the world in the biggest cities, and she makes this one video about it on this YouTube channel and goes viral. Therefore becomes internet famous, and like it asks us from there, like, what are these statues, why are they there, and like how do you deal with fame overnight. And the first book, an absolutely remarkable thing, I didn't really have like super high expectations, but I was still really excited for it because it seemed really good and it was amazing. I was so invested in like knowing what these statues are, and then also just seeing how you treat people on the internet. It was such a theme valid to our world, and just like a kind of, I would say, a commentary to how we are on the internet, and it was just so interesting and fascinating, and I was all for it. So I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and it was like a very good read, and I did really enjoy this one too, but this one became sort of a very different book. It became much more sci-fi, and it was also much more like, let's go and battle and save the world, but it was also still, of course, like mystery aspects to it, like in this, like what is really going on. But like this one just had like this closeness to us, like the commentary, I guess, like to our society. It's not like direct commentary. That's not like he literally sits there and just like comments on our society, but it just felt like it so much, and I just like enjoyed those conversations so much. While here it was more like go and save the world thing, and I did enjoy it, but I did think like the heart here was better than it is. But overall, a very good duology. So if you've been hesitant to pick it up, I don't see what you're doing. It's very approachable, not complicated at all, like really high sci-fi, and it just had so many good themes and characters, and like the whole like why are they there, the statues, etc. It's just so fascinating and interesting, and I'm very excited to read any new books by Hank Green in the future. Then I actually finished the 3 Dark Crown Quartet. It is 4 books by Kendra Blake, but this one is like a short story collection thing with 2 short stories, and I read this too, so it's like completed. Like I would say I was completed with these 4 because you don't have to read this, but I even read this, so it is as completed as it can be. This one followed 3 triplets, and they're all queens of this island called Fenburn, and then when they're a certain age they all have to kill each other, and then the one left standing becomes queen, and this has been a tradition on this island for like years and years and years. So they always born triplets, they always have to kill each other, and the last one standing is always like the queen, and then she gives birth to triplets as well, and it goes on and on and on. Like you learn about reasons for this, and you learn about these 3 queens. You follow all their perspectives as well. And overall, I had fun with this series because me and my friends are silly, and we all like cast ourselves as 1 queen each as a joke, and then like, oh my god, my parents are vacuum cleaning, I'm so sorry. But like we were all 1 queen each, and I was just like, when they did stuff, I was just like, oh my god, right now you were doing this and it's so weird, and like, yeah. It was really funny how we were kind of 1 queen each, and that was why I had so much fun with it. Overall, for the plot though, it annoyed me because it was just so convenient at times, and like the cool stuff you think is gonna happen never happens. The author, in my opinion, tried too much to like make it shocking for us not going in the direction we wanted, but then it just became like I didn't feel deserved for the things that are happening, and the last book in the series made me so mad. The final was not even fun, like at all. I am still pissed. So like overall, like it is like a fun YA series, and I think you can have fun with it, and like just like for the drama, just like enjoy it. But I think like the complexity of like what it could have been is a letdown. But yeah, overall just like mixed feelings towards this, but I had a lot of fun with it and I don't regret reading it. So there's that. And yeah, I also really like the UK editions. I think the spines are really like colorful and nice. Just saying. And the next series I finished was Gumiho, the duology by Kacho. The first book, Wicked Fox, follows Mi-young, who is a Gumiho, and she needs to like devour, I was gonna say like souls or people, I guess, to like live forever and be young and stuff. She's only 17, but like she needs to do this for a long time. Like her mother is really old, and then she loses her fox speed when she's trying to like devour this demon, I don't even remember. Then she meets Ji-hoon, who like is a human boy, and they interact, and the first one feels like a lot like a K-drama and stuff, and it's a very nice feel to it. It's set in Seoul, Korea, and it's awesome. And this is like the sequel / spin-off, because the main two characters are like the friends of the characters here, but the two characters here are also in this one, and they do connect, like the plot continues kind of, so it is nice. It's a very fun duology. Like I prefer the first one, but the second one was also really good. Overall, just like the vibes of these, the like mythology, Korean mythology, the characters, it was all really fun. It was just a fun thing with just like really great atmosphere. So really recommend if you haven't picked it up yet. Just saying. Then we have Darius the Great is Not Okay. And if you have been here for a bit, you know that Darius the Great is Not Okay is like one of my favorite books of all time. And then a sequel came last year, and of course I read it. So yeah, it's Darius the Great Deserves Better, and they both by Abid Koram, by the way. And I don't know if it's coming more, like there's nothing confirmed or not confirmed, so I am just like rolling with the fact that I finished the duology. This one followed Darius, who has never really felt like he fit in. He has like a really bad relationship with his dad, who is white, and his mother is from Iran, and then he just really struggles fitting in like in Persian culture. Then they go to Iran to visit his grandparents because his grandfather is sick. He also has clinical depression, and I'm like describing it really badly, I'm sorry, but the point is that it's just about Darius, and that he's not okay, and that he struggles like with his family, with not having friends, with his relationship with his dad, and it all just comes together. I'm getting goosebumps because it's like the most beautiful story. I cried like and sobbed like a child the first time reading this. The second time I just heard a lot because I was prepared that time. Just the friendship that grows, his relationship with his family, his relationship to himself. It's so good. I don't understand how this is so amazing. Then the sequel came, and I was like, can it top what it achieved here? Because I'm scared in like sequels of this, like for example, let's say that his relationship with his dad did develop, and then like it's really easy to just like erase that and like just have the same issue in the second one, for example. But that didn't happen at all. It was just new, I would say, like issues and problems that are potent in their lives that made so much sense. Also, Darius is gay, by the way, and he's not like out here, but he's out and like have a boyfriend and everything here, and he's just their lives, and like then they are like back home, and I thought like, would it be as good as the first one? And it was. I don't understand how it was so good. I was so scared it wouldn't be good because I loved it so much. It was just amazing. So please just read them. They are amazing contemporaries, and like just everything. I would scream about this for the rest of my life. And if I was gonna recommend like one contemporary to read, these. Just these. You can read the first one as a standalone, but the second book just, it was amazing. I then finished the Merciful Crow series, or like I guess duology again. And the first book I got as an arc, and I have a review up on my channel, but don't watch it because it's probably bad. But at first I really did enjoy it. It's by Margaret Owen, by the way, and then a sequel came out last year, so I just decided to read it at once so that like I was done. And it follows Fee, I think, or Fia, I don't know how to say her name, and she is like a crow, and a crow is like on the bottom of like the food chain, the bottom of everything, but they are the ones who can like they're immune against the plague that plagues like all the other bird people. Like the phoenixes are like the royal family, and then like a crow is on the bottom, and they need to go around like bird bodies and like clean up after the plague and make sure it doesn't spread, because they're the only one who are immune, but they don't have like a gift of their own. All the other bird races, but they're not actually birds, they're just called that, but all of the other ones, they like have different abilities, but the crows don't have one, like a gift. She, as a crow, is one of the people who can burn teeth from the other bird races and therefore get their abilities for a short amount of time, and that is awesome. And I did really like the magic system and like them going on the road. Here in the first one they go with the Phoenix Prince and his bodyguard because they are running away because like someone tried to kill them, and then here like that is the aftermath of that in this. And I did really actually like the first one. I thought it was really exciting, even though like it did have like some like, I guess, stupid things that I like really, but the second one just like had a lot of tropes I didn't like, and I didn't like what they found out and stuff. Like I wasn't the biggest fan, but like it was okay. I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars, so it wasn't that bad. But I did think like the overall the series was enjoyable, and it was a fun YA series. I really liked the magic system and like just like the atmosphere and the writing. I liked it, at least a lot in the first book, and I need to get like a proper hardcover so I can match this, because I want to like have a proper edition, I guess, like a finished copy. That was what I was trying to say. This video is basically me just reviewing the series, but I guess that makes sense. So the next series I then finished was of course the Poppy War series, because that sequel came out in November and I read it at once, and I have the Lumicrate set, so I always need to show it off and show my smoked sprayed edges, which are absolutely stunning. And the Poppy War series is of course written by R.F. Kuang, and it follows in the first book Rin, who doesn't want to marry this old gross dude. So she takes this exam to go into like the most prestige military academy, and then war works out. So obviously since she was in the military academy, she has to go to war, and there's also a lot of like shamanism and stuff in it, and like magic and stuff, because it is a fantasy series. It's inspired a lot about like actually Chinese history and like the Chinese Civil War and like the war with Japan, etc. Like it's like inspired by the actual, what's it called, historical events, and it's very, very brutal, very, very dark, a lot of death and destruction and pain, and very, very, I would say, depressing and sad, but it is amazing. I read the first book the first time. I read it twice now, and I would say I wasn't actually the biggest fan, because I thought like the shift for when she goes to school to the war was just a bit weird for me. And then I read the second book and I absolutely fell in love. Like 5 out of 5 stars. I just thought it was so fun. It's still my favorite in the series, the second book. And then before the third book came out, I reread both of them, and then I gave Poppy War 5 stars because I realized that I was an idiot the first time I read it. And then I read the third one, which is also a 5-star read. So like it's one of my favorite series. That's a sentence. But I'm not the biggest fan of the ending, just because I've been thinking about it a lot since reading it, and I do think that like we were hyping up a lot of things, and then it was just like over, and I was just like okay, and I didn't like the ending. I thought it was too open and like not satisfying, I guess, but like it makes sense for like how depressing these books are, but I guess I wanted more, and I didn't want it to go in that direction. But I still think it is an absolute masterpiece. I guess the despair here hurt a lot more than in these, because you think they're gonna solve it and they kind of do in these, but in this it's just like, bye bitch, you are gonna suffer forever. But yeah, it's one of my favorite series of all time, so if you haven't picked it up yet, do, but please be aware of its trigger warnings before reading it. Also, I love them so much. I want to reread them like soonish. Can my parents stop walking though, please? We then have the Rise of the Empress series, which is by Julie C. Dao, and the first book is a Evil Queen retelling in an Eastern Asian setting. We also have Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix, which is a Snow White retelling, still in the same setting. And then this one is kind of like a spin-off of these two, where like we don't follow the same characters, but we are set in the same world. And it is a great trilogy, even though like I guess a duology with an extra book, you can also call it that. But yeah, it's so much fun. I just love the setting. I love how dark the first book was, and how like the second book wove in together with the first book. I thought the whole series was just solid. I love the atmosphere and like the Asianness, if that is a word, of course. And I I had a really great time with all of these. I think like it feels like a fairy tale, because in the first book it's very much like a, you know, like a villain origin story, and the second book is like kind of like a quest journey thing, and then this one is just like two idiots in love being stupid. But I loved it. So overall, there's a really fun series. So I recommend it a lot if you like YA series and want more just great reads. Okay, it was a great fun time, and I'm excited to read more books of Julie C. Dow in the future. So we then have Wargirls, which is also a duology. I don't think it's coming a third book because it did really end, but if it is, then we can talk about that another time. The first book is inspired a lot by like the Nigerian Civil War, but it's like in a sci-fi setting. So we follow these two sisters, and one of them like is kind of cyborg. She has like a robot arm and stuff, and it's really cool, and they get separated, and then like years later they reconcile, I guess. It takes a while. It is very dramatic. So that's like the first book-ish, and then like obviously there's a war and a lot of people are dying and there's just tragedy all over. And then the sequel I don't want to talk about because it's spoiler, but overall just like the themes in this book were amazing, with just like the action, the siblings relationship, the sci-fi-ness. I don't even know what to tell you. Like it's an awesome series. If I was going to say something negative, I think like I struggled a bit like with character motivations in this, and this one just had like kind of a surprise plot that came out of nowhere. And I was just like, oh, but like I liked it too. I think I prefer the first book, but like it just feel like this really massive thing. Like I don't know how to describe it, but like we skip years in this, so like it's just like this massive big story, and your brain is like, oh my god. And also just like so many cool sci-fi aspects. So I recommend this series a lot. This one was like released and I read it at once, so I like could say I had read both of them. And I really want to read like the author's other series, Beast Made of Night, which you can see here. Very excited to pick that one up, because after reading this I know I'm going to read everything by the author that I didn't even say the name of, Tochi Onyebuchi. But yeah, so what more to say? Apparently nothing. I'm bad. So the next book I read was the Irresistible Attraction trilogy, and I don't remember the first name of the author. I think it's Winters, it's like the second name or something. And I read this because I bought it on like a sale on Audible, because I wanted like a smutty romance, and I don't have physical copies and I don't think I'm gonna get them, but basically I just wanted a smutty romance and I wanted to listen to it because I decided to be a pervert a bit, which is all fine, all good. I love some smut, but there was just not. This was not for me. So I don't remember my main character's name, but basically the sister of the main character dies, and then she thinks there's like this gang of dudes, and then she tries to like investigate them for like a second, and then he comes home to her, and she tries to shoot him, and then he puts her like in the car, of like kidnaps her, and then he like lets her go, and then suddenly she has to like, because like the sister owned his money, and then she has to pay it back, but did a long time with him, which is like, you know, fucking. And that's like how it starts. And like all those events, I just sat there and was like, are you both idiots? It was so weird how like events turn into each other, and then like when they actually have sex, by the way, they skipped it, and I was like, I'm literally here to just fuck, and then they skipped it. It was a disappointment. And then the next two books, instead of like actually focusing on like their relationship, because he kept like lying to her, and just like everything he told her was a lie, like so many things, and she was just like, oh, it's fine, let's have sex. And I was just like, are you okay? Like, no, she's clearly not. And it was just so like, oh my god, she's so ferocious and cool, and she can make her own decisions. But the decision she's made was stupid. I'm sorry. But yeah, the book tried to be like really like cool and gangster in the end. So we went straight away from the romance. The only reason I was there was for the smut. I'm not saying they had to have sex all the time. I'm not saying that they needed like the best reason to have sex all the time. But like, I'm not interested in listening to one of the characters like beat up a dude and just like questioning his mortality or whatever. It was a disappointment. It was sucky ass, and I hated that I read it. And yeah, not recommended. If anyone has like a good smutty thing, like, because these had amazing reviews on Goodreads, but I feel like they were all lying, then please do. Like, that actually makes sense. Please recommend me some down below. I then read a book that I don't know even if it counts as a series, but if you've been here for the other parts of this, you know I just cheat. So yeah, I read Independent People by Halldor Laxness. So this is like an Icelandic classic, and it is originally 4 books. This is like a bundle up of all of them, and I read all 4, so I think like they were released as separate books when it was released. So like it is technically a series of books. I just read them all in one. This one basically just is set on this farm in Iceland and I'm trying to keep it. And that's it. Like there's death, there's births, there's marriages, and it's interesting. I actually read this for reading in translation. Readathon I co-hosted, so I made my friend who is Icelandic recommend this to me, and I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan. I didn't really actually get everything. It was very much like a lot of politics and stuff on Iceland that I didn't really care for. But like I think some parts were interesting, some parts were like really atmospheric, some were sad, etc. But it's not like a thing I would recommend on, because I wouldn't like actually think about this if anyone asked me. But I can say I read it if anyone asked me then. I don't really have that much more to say. Does this even count as a series? I do not know. It's not my fault I have a bundle up. But yeah, let's move on. I then actually finished a manga series, which I never do, and that is Bloom Into You, which is by Nakatani Neo, and this one has 8 volumes. It does have like a spin-off following one of these characters, but I don't count it as like in the actual series. And I just never finish a manga because they go on forever, so this, it's not an achievement, I'm telling you. This one follows Yu and Nanami, and Yu has always just wanted to be in love and stuff, but she hasn't really like managed to feel it yet. And then Nanami, like people like her all the time, but she is not really like into them. So you kind of let Nanami love her, because like when people start liking Nanami, she stops liking them. It's like a thing, and you just like wants to feel kind of like love. So she lets her love her, and they kiss and stuff, and it's very cute. And I'd also do like this play for like this festival at their school, and like it's a lot of character development in it. It's very innocent, very sweet, and I just think like it's one of the best Yuri manga I have read. It's not like over the top or like anything like nasty. It's just like super adorable and like actually a really cute love story. The end was beautiful. I almost cried. It was so good, and overall it's just like a very satisfying series, and I'm very glad I read the whole thing, and I recommend it a lot for like anyone who wants to get into manga even, because it's so easy and approachable, very chill, but just like adorable overall of everything. And if you just want like an actual cute Yuri manga that's like not like, I would say like perverted, I guess. It's just very innocent and sweet, and I adored it. So very happy. Then I finished Dear Martin Duology by Nick Stone. The first one follows Justice, who gets handcuffed when he goes home in the dark with a hoodie, and he is there for hours, and then he realizes that, you know, the cops are assholes to black people, like racist assholes, and he writes letters to Martin Luther King Jr. wanting to live up to him and like wanting to live by his ideals, and then he sees like a lot of injustice in the world, etc. And it's also just very, very heartbreaking. If you read a synopsis back on it, you know the heartbreaking part, but I didn't know it. So it just happened, and I literally just was heartbroken. So I don't know, it's up to you or not if you want to read a synopsis, but I didn't read it. I just knew I wanted to read this. And this one is kind of like the sequel, but also like a companion, because it doesn't follow Justice. It follows Vernal, and he know Justice, so he writes to Justice in this instead of here. Justice writes to Martin, and here Vernal writes to Justice. So it's really like, it's like a nice thing. But yeah, he went to prison for murder, and then like we see the backstory of like what really happened, how he ended up there, how injustice it is that he ended up there being so young, etc. So this was like kind of like I read Nick Stone's like acknowledgements and stuff, and this was kind of like from Justice. He was really like a brilliant boy. He doesn't have it easy, of course, being a black man in America, but he like had opportunities because he went to like a really prestigious school, because he had like, he was really smart at school, like, and had those opportunities. But here Nick Stone tells the story of someone who doesn't have that, who were fucked from the beginning almost just because of his circumstances in life, and also, you know, being black. And she wanted to tell like a kind of story like that too, as well as this one. And yeah, it's just very, very good. Recommend a lot. And I love that I waited actually buying Dear Martin, because like it had originally another cover, because then when the Justice came out, I got like the ones that were matching, because the first one doesn't match this one. And I just love how like they look one way each, and then like they fit super well together. Really good books. We'll probably reread them one day, but yeah, and then we have another duology, which is Tiny Pretty Things, and then its sequel, Shiny Broken Pieces by Daniel Clayton and Sona Shari Potra, which I know, I'm sorry. This one is set at a ballet school, and it follows 3 different characters who just wanted out ballet, and they all do shitty shit things to each other. I know a TV show was made, I read this, I saw the TV show. I thought the TV show was a bit shit. Like, I think the production and like everything was amazing. I just think like the plot was so weird, and here like the plot is quite different. Like, it has kind of the same aspects but not exactly. Really enjoy the books. They are twisted and weird, and it's just like of them being twisted with each other. The plot is so weird, but it's in the end really fun, and I did like the conclusion and everything, and I'm glad I read the books because it's just like, it reminds me of Pretty Little Liars, I would say, because that's a good comparison, but better. But I did enjoy the show because I loved seeing them dance, because I love watching people dance, and that was amazing. As I said, the production wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just like the scripts. It was so weird. They were so inconsistent. I felt like Riverdale. I was so mad. But yeah, the duology was fun, and I recommend it if you like a bit like twisty thing and dancing. But you don't need to like dancing to read this. I can't dance, but it was fun to read them. We are on the second to last series, and we've been here forever. Then I read Crier, which was another duology. We had a lot of duologies this time around. And Crier is the first book, and then Our Heart is the second book. And this one is set in a world, is also sci-fi, where like Automanes are like, I guess like overhumans. They treat humans like shit. And then Crier is like the Automane princess. And then we have, what's her name? Isla is actually her name, I remembered. She's a human. She wants to kill Crier for revenge because her father killed her family, so she wants to take his family away from him. Something like that. I can't even speak. But yeah. And then like revolution breaks out, etc, etc, and they fall in love. It's an FF romance. It is great. It is so much fun. I really enjoyed the first book. It also has like a long like myth thing inside of it. Makes the world feel so much brighter and fresher, and I did the same in this one. And then like reveals are made, and it's war, and it's just like brutal, but also these 2 girls will save the world with their love. Yes. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, and I am happy that I read the books, and now I will happily read anything else Nina Varela writes. Did I even say the author? I don't even know. Happy I finally got to it. And then the last series here, which I completed last month. It is the Ember Quartet by Salvatore here, showing off my favorite editions and these beautiful deckled and sprayed edges. Just saying. Okay, can I turn on my wine without losing them? Who knows? So Amber and Ashes has been my favorite book since I read it for the first time. I don't remember which year. 2017, something like that. And then I read the second book, and I didn't think it was going to be as good as the first one because that never happens. And I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. And then I read it, I just reading the third book because we hadn't announced the fourth book yet. But then last year, actually in May, I read like 1, 2 on audio and then 3 physically, and now the fourth finally. I've waited a long time, even though like it was released in December. It is amazing. The first book follows Laya, who his family gets killed, the brother gets imprisoned because she is a scholar, and like they are really oppressed in like under the Empire, and then she needs to spy on the commandant, who's like the leader of the army, for the rebellion, so they will free her brother from prison. And then we have Elias, who is a mask, who's like a lead soldier in like the Imperial army, but he doesn't want to be, and their paths interconnect. And there's also another main character called Helene, but she doesn't get a point of view until the second book. First book has like a contest thing. I did not know that. It is so good. Like it has so many twists. You cannot expect it. Second book is like a journey thing, but the twists and turns, nope. And then the third book is basically just, I would say, revolution, and the fourth book is just pain. Actually, it's just pain in all of them. It's so painful. I have not read anything this painful. You're just screaming. Saba is evil, but I love it. I love it. I'm so excited for anything she writes next. I know it's gonna be amazing. I have given every single book of these 5 stars. My favorite, I think, is still in between like the first and second one, but I can't decide. And also, by the way, when I was rereading the second one, I had forgotten the plot twist, and then when it happened I was shocked. I like remember right before and I was like, oh my god, and then that's hilarious. What to tell you, it is beautiful woven story. The atmosphere, the characters are amazing, the pain, the plot, what to tell you, it is my fave. Okay, I'm holding these like they're my babies, and they are. When Fairlight announced these editions, by the way, I died. and I'm losing them because you can't get the like the 3 first one in hardcover in these covers, but now you can, and it all matches, and I'm living my life for it. But yay, what to tell you, read this. If you were gonna read anything I have talked about here, read these. Or Poppy War, or Darius the Great. One of those, because they are like my fave. And of course the rest. That was it. That was all the 15 series I read lately. Is 15 too many? Do we want to take it down to 10 so these videos are not so long? Answer me down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, basically me reviewing series. If you watch like my wrap-ups and stuff, you probably already heard all this. I think it's good to have in just like one video, and then you have an overview of all the series I finished. I already finished 2 like in my next 15 ones. Do we want to do 10? So hopefully that will come like later this year if I do good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave an animal that looks like this down below. I don't know, is there a tiger, a puma? I actually don't know. Leave any animal similar to this down below, whatever you think it is, and you will see me soon in a video. Goodbye.